Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready to dive into some writing wisdom.
Always ready for that.
So we're tackling 12 rules of writing every author must know today.
Ooh, sounds intense.
It is, but in a good way. It's written by the chief editor over at Publications. They've seen it all when it comes to manuscripts.
So, like, straight from the source.
Exactly. And the cool thing is, these rules, they aren't just for like novelists or whatever. They apply to basically anyone who writes.
Oh, I like that. Makes it practical.
Totally. Whether you're working on a presentation, sending emails, even just trying to write a decent text message, these rules can help.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What's the first rule? Lay it on me.
First one is knowing your audience.
Right. Makes sense.
But the source, it really makes you think about it on a deeper level. Like, who are you actually trying to reach with your writing?
Yeah, I see what you mean. Like, it's different writing to a friend than, say, a potential client.
Exactly. And the source even has you ask yourself, what does your audience care about? How can you connect them through your writing?
Powerful stuff. Okay, I'm already seeing how this goes beyond just, like, grammar rules.
Totally. And speaking of going beyond, rule number 2 is all about having a clear purpose.
Purpose?
Yeah.
Like, what am I trying to do with this writing?
You got it. The source uses this analogy of a road trip. You got to know where you're going before you start driving.
I like that.
So are you trying to inform, entertain, persuade your reader? That purpose becomes your roadmap.
Okay, roadmap analogy, I'm with you. Without that, you're just driving around aimlessly.
Exactly. And that brings us to rule number 3, outlining.
Oh, outlining. I have a love-hate relationship with that one.
I get it. It can feel kind of tedious, but the source makes this great point. Outlining isn't just for novels or big projects.
Oh, interesting. Tell me more.
Think about it. You probably already outline in some way without even realizing it.
Wait, really? Like, how?
Like if you're planning a presentation at work, you jot down your main points, right?
That's true.
Or even like that dream vacation you're saving up for. I bet you have a list of places you want to see.
Guilty as charged.
Right.
Okay, so it's all about organizing your thoughts, making sure you don't miss anything important.
Exactly. It helps you stay on track.
Yeah, okay, sold. Outlining, it's more useful than I thought.
Right. And now, for something a little more personal, rule number 4 is all about writing with authenticity.
Authenticity, now we're talking.
I know, right? The source really emphasizes bringing your genuine self to your writing.
Well, think about it. The people we enjoy listening to, the writers we connect with, they're usually being real, not putting on some kind of act.
That's such a good point. Like, think about those friends who always tell the best stories. They're just being themselves.
Totally. And you know what? That genuine voice, it shines through in their writing, too.
It's like the difference between a generic greeting card and a handwritten note from a friend.
Oh, yeah, that personal touch. It makes all the difference.
Speaking of making a difference, rule number 5 is all about showing, not telling.
Ooh, that's a classic writing tip.
Yeah, and the source has this fantastic example. Instead of saying, she was angry.
Let me guess. They give you something way more vivid.
You know it. They say, her fists clenched and her voice cracked as she shouted.
Boom. Now we're seeing that anger, not just being told about it.
Exactly. It's about painting a picture with words, letting the reader experience the emotion, not just read about it.
And this doesn't just apply to fiction either, does it?
Not at all. Think about it. Imagine you're trying to convince your boss to implement a new strategy at work.
Instead of just, like, listing bullet points.
You'd paint a picture of how this strategy would benefit everyone, how it would impact the team positively.
Much more compelling. Okay, I'm loving this. What's next?
All right, rule number 6. It's a big one. Revise ruthlessly.
Ooh, revision. Necessary, but sometimes painful.
Tell me about it. The source even quotes Hemingway on this one. He said, the only kind of writing is rewriting.
Okay, coming from Hemingway, that's gotta mean something.
For sure. Revision is where good writing becomes great.
It's taking that first draft, which, let's be honest, is rarely perfect.
Oh, never perfect.
Right. And you gotta be willing to shape it, mold it, make it shine.
And it's more than just fixing typos and grammar, though those are important too.
Of course. But you gotta look at the big picture, the flow, the structure. Do your arguments make sense?
Yeah, it's being your own toughest critic.
Sometimes you gotta be willing to kill your darlings, cut whole sections, rearrange paragraphs, maybe even start over.
Starting over sounds brutal, but sometimes it's gotta be done.
Totally agree. Okay, what's rule number 7?
This one might not sound as exciting as, like, crafting a plot twist, but it's crucial. Mind your grammar and style.
Right. The nuts and bolts of good writing.
Exactly. The source actually recommends using style guides, like the Chicago Manual of Style.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that one. Kind of dense, though, right?
Yeah. It can be, but think of it this way. A consistent style makes your work look professional and, not confusing to read.
I get that.
Hmm.
It's like having all your ducks in a row. Makes it easier for the reader to follow your message.
Exactly. Now, on to rule number 8. This one's all about getting feedback.
Feedback, oh man, that can be tough to hear sometimes.
It can be, but the source emphasizes how valuable it is. We can get so close to our own writing we miss things.
Yeah, totally. It's like you need a fresh pair of eyes to catch those awkward sentences or unclear ideas.
The source recommends finding trusted readers, people who'll give you honest feedback, the kind that helps you grow.
It's like having a writing coach in your corner, someone who can push you to be better.
And this feedback thing, it goes way beyond just writing.
Oh, for sure. Think about any field, music, sports, business, you name it. Getting feedback is how we learn and improve.
Truth. Okay, moving on to rule number 9. Establish a writing routine.
Ooh, routine. I need more of that in my life.
Don't we all? But the source makes this great point about consistency. Even setting aside a little bit of time each day, it can make a huge difference.
Like just showing up, even if it's only for 15 minutes.
Exactly. It's about building that writing muscle. The source even compares it to brushing your teeth.
Uh-huh. I like that. We don't think twice about brushing our teeth every day. Why should writing be any different?
Right. And find what works for you. Morning person, right then. Night owl, right then. The key is to make it a habit.
Habit, got it. Okay, what's rule number 10? Hit me with it.
This one is embrace the power of editing.
Editing. That's where the real magic happens, right?
For sure. The source talks about how a professional editor can really elevate your work. They bring that fresh perspective, catch those little errors we might miss, and really refine the flow and impact.
Yeah, like polishing a diamond.
Yeah.
Makes it sparkle.
Now, I know not everyone has access to a professional editor,
Okay.
but the principle still applies. Take that extra step to polish your work. Read it out loud, ask a friend to look it over, even use those online grammar tools.
It's about presenting your best work, putting your best foot forward, right?
Absolutely. And you know what pairs well with editing? Reading. Rule number 11 is all about reading widely and deeply.
Reading. My favorite pastime.
Mm.
What writer doesn't love to read?
Right. And the source really emphasizes reading outside of your comfort zone, too.
Ooh, I like that challenge. Branch out, explore different styles, different genres.
Exactly. You never know what's going to spark an idea or teach you a new technique. It's like cross-training for your brain.
Love that analogy.
Uh,
Okay, so we've read, we've edited. What's the final rule?
all right. The last one is stay resilient.
Ooh, resilience. That's a big one, especially in the writing world.
It is. The source acknowledges that the writing journey, it's filled with rejections, critiques, and, setbacks.
It's tough out there for a writer. Rejection is part of the game, but it doesn't mean you're not good enough.
Exactly. And the source really emphasizes learning to separate your ego from your work.
Yeah, that's key. It's not always personal. Sometimes a piece just isn't the right fit, or maybe it needs more work.
It's about having that grit, that determination to keep going, keep learning, keep improving.
And believing in yourself, even when it feels tough.
The source actually shares this bonus tip that ties in perfectly with resilience. Write for impact, not perfection.
Impact, not perfection. I like that. It's so easy to get caught up in trying to make everything perfect.
I know, right? It can really stifle creativity.
The source encourages us to shift our focus. Ask ourselves, what impact do we want to make with this piece? What story are we trying to tell? What message do we want to share?
Powerful questions. So instead of getting bogged down in perfectionism, we should be thinking about the heart of our writing, the purpose behind it.
Exactly. And sometimes that imperfection, that rawness, that's what really connects with readers.
It's like sometimes those rough edges, they make the writing feel more real, more human.
Totally. It's like
Yeah,
we connect with the vulnerability.
absolutely. So for our listener out there, what's a good starting point when it comes to thinking about the impact they want to make?
Well, maybe they could think about a piece of writing that really resonated with them. Something that moved them or made them laugh or taught them something new.
Oh, I like that. Sort of like reverse engineering the impact.
Exactly. And then they can ask themselves, what is it about this piece that works so well? What can I learn from this and use in my own writing?
That's a great exercise. Sometimes it helps to study the writers we love and see what techniques they're using.
For sure. And remember, impact doesn't have to be like on a global scale.
That's a good point.
Sometimes the most powerful writing is about those small personal moments.
Yeah, sharing a story that touches someone's heart, or even like a well-written joke that brightens their day.
Exactly. It all counts.
It's a good reminder that every piece we write, no matter how small, it has the potential to connect with someone, make a difference.
And that's pretty amazing when you think about it.
So, as we wrap up our deep dive into these 12 rules, what's one key takeaway you'd want our listeners to remember?
Hmm. I'd say just write. Don't let the fear of judgment or rejection hold you back.
Oh, I love that. Just go for it.
Exactly. Embrace the process, play with language, have fun with it.
And remember, these rules are a guide, not a rule book.
Right. Find what works for you, break the rules when you need to, just keep writing.
Couldn't have said it better myself. The world needs your stories, your poems, your essays, even your emails.
Uh-huh, yes. Every piece of writing is a chance to express yourself, connect with others, and leave your mark on the world.
Beautifully said. And on that note, we'll wrap up our deep dive. Hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, happy writing, everyone.